Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for Fantasy Premier League content for the 2021-22 season. My name is Dan and today I'm going to be sharing you my scores from last week, and then we're going to move on to how I'm going to line up my team for next game week, how we're going to move forward throughout the season. Really excited to share with you my game week 1 scores because we did kind of well. Some of you guys will know already that we did kind of well. So we're going to be sharing that in a minute. So guys, if you do enjoy this video, if it does help you out in any way, please do like the video. I massively appreciate that. And of course, subscribe if you're new around here. You want to follow along with my team throughout the season and see how far we can go. Subscribe, join the gang. But before we have a look at my team from last week, a quick word from our sponsor today, which is, of course, OneFootball, the regular sponsors of these team selection videos. Now, guys, if you don't know what OneFootball is, it's a great football mobile app / website. You can go on, you can check football scores, you can check football lineups. It's really, really useful if you're not watching some particular games, particularly if there's a lot of games on at the same time, or if you want to just check out what's going on around European football, whatever. It's got you covered. Scores, lineups, stats, news, everything, guys. So go check it out, completely free. There is a link in my description for you to go check it out. So here it is. Here are the scores from game week 1. 115 points, a rank of 14,006. Pretty incredible. Yeah, it's so nice when, you do so much research pre-season. I mean, you guys who've been watching me during pre-season, you'll know so many videos, sort of like 30, 35 pre-season videos, and all just throwing in all of the research that I've done. So, yeah, when you work really hard on your pre-season research to try and get your game week 1 squad right, it's so nice when it comes off and it turns out to be right. It's really, really nice. So, yeah, we really couldn't have asked for much more here. To have 115 points with no chips to use, it's just incredible. Like, I was really happy with my rank, like starting off as 14,000. It's like incredible. So I kind of looked around my placement in the leaderboard to see, okay, yeah, people around my rank, what kind of teams did they have? All of them, well, sort of 9 out of 10 of the teams around me had used their triple captain, they've used their bench boost, and they needed to use these chips in order to get a score like this. To be here without having used any chips, to be this close to number 1, essentially, without having used any chips, it's just absolutely mind-blowing. So yeah, an amazing start, and I'm really pleased. Everyone really impressed. Fernandez with his hat-trick, obviously amazing. Salah was the captain of choice and he did really well as well. A couple of assists, goals, showing that creativity as well as his goal-scoring ability, which is so nice to see him adding that creativity to his game as well, because we know he can do it. Over past seasons, we've seen how creative he can be, so we know he can do that as a player. And then we kind of had Ben Rama, who, I really liked him pre-season. I liked him taking up the Lingard role, and that's exactly what he did for West Ham, and he did really well in that role. Antonio, mixed bag, missing penalties but scoring goals, getting assists. It's all good. It's all good in the end. 13 points. We're very happy with that, aren't we? So, yeah, we're going to take the 13 points from Antonio. And then Ings, 97th minute penalty, perhaps a little bit unlucky. That was his only shot of the game. I don't know if there's a concern there necessarily, but, it's clear that it's going to take a little while for this Aston Villa team to gel, isn't it? And thankfully, these first 3 fixtures are quite easy for them. And then we've got Callum Wilson, who popped up with a goal and looks amazing. Looks absolutely amazing in that game against West Ham. So, really pleased overall. Everyone's kind of performed, didn't, Sanchez, although he didn't keep his clean sheet, the goal probably should have been disallowed, so he would have had a clean sheet, I guess. So overall, amazingly happy with my game week 1 results. Okay, obviously we've had an amazing start, and if I'm on the road to winning FPL, that's kind of the way you want to start, right? But there's so much work to be done still. There's so many game weeks left to play, so let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Obviously, it's an amazing start, but we've got to move on. We've got to keep going. We've got to continue this form. And how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to set up with another really nice team. So, guys, you will see that my team value is up to 99.8. It started off on 99.5 because I have 0.5 in the bank. We've had 3 price rises in my team already, with a couple more expected to come in before deadline. So, the team is increasing in value. We love that. But, guys, let's put some players on this pitch. And we're going to start you off in goal with Sanchez, the only goalkeeper I have, really, because my backup goalkeeper is Steele, which is also Sanchez is back up. So we do like Sanchez a lot. I know he didn't keep the clean sheet in the first game. A lot of people are, well, I say a lot of people, a few people are ditching Sanchez already, which is just ludicrous to me. If you watched the game, you would have seen that the Brighton, they weren't too bad defensively, as they always are not too bad defensively. So they have got some favourable fixtures. We've got Watford up next. We've got Everton, Brentford, Leicester. These aren't too bad fixtures at all, and these sort of not bad fixtures continue right the way up until game week 8, 9, 10. So it's looking good for a while for Brighton. So we're going to like that. We're going to have Sanchez. He's going to stay in goal. He's not moving until I get my first wild card or use my first wild card. Sanchez isn't moving. So we're going to keep him, and we're going to move on into defence with Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, if I'm completely honest with you guys, I was a little bit disappointed with Trent Alexander-Arnold in that opening game because I don't know. I expected him to be a little bit more creative, a little bit more forward-thinking, taking the odd shot on as well and stuff like that. I kind of expected a little bit more attacking play from him, but it's one game's worth of data, so I'm not going to get too crazy about this. But looking at the stats of going forward to the next game week 2. It does look like Liverpool have the highest chance of getting a clean sheet in this game week than any other team. So having Liverpool defenders is going to be really nice for this game week because they have the highest chance of a clean sheet. And that's what we've got. Trent, clean sheet. If we can get any more, if we can get, even if it's from a corner or a free kick, some kind of goal contribution, that would be amazing too because that will be bonus points as well. But clean sheets, hoping for a little bit more as well. Let's see what can happen against Burnley. We've got Luke Shaw here. Obviously, 1 point in the first game week. I think that's put off a lot of people from Luke Shaw. To be fair, he played an okay game. Wasn't too bad. Obviously, he did get that yellow card, which brought him down to the 1-pointer. And if it wasn't for that Luke Ayling worldy wonder goal, he's such a legend, isn't he, Luke Ayling? He'd actually have a lot more points. So we're not going to panic yet. You can see in front of you right here that the Manchester United have some wicked fixtures. They have such good fixtures. Southampton, Wolves, Newcastle, West Ham. This is going to be really good for Manchester United. And guys, you've got to be invested in those Manchester United players, just like I am right now. So Southampton first, clean sheet on the cards. I would hope so. I would hope there's a really good chance of a clean sheet here. But if not, Wolves, Newcastle next. Definitely chances of clean sheets there. So we're going to stick with Shaw. He's not going anywhere. Definitely not time to panic about Shaw quite yet. Then finally, we've got Tsimikas, everyone's favourite 4 million defender, who is no longer a 4 million defender. He's gone up to 4.1 because so many people are transferring him in because people, latecomers, I guess, are now realising that Tsimikas was a great shout to go with. He was a great shout to go with, but yeah, a lot of us know, we knew he was going to start for Liverpool. He was going to get those clean sheets, and long may that continue. He is going to be playing in this game. I really do think he is. I know that we've seen kind of reports of Robertson coming back to training. Because of the nature of his injury, yes, he is going to be able to run kind of in a straight line, but there's a very big difference between doing some training of just started, very, very basic running training and actual physical like playing football, and turning and having your agility and stuff like that. That's not going to happen overnight for Robertson. So I'm pretty certain, kind of 90% sure that Tsimikas is going to play this game week. Game week 3, we might have to reassess the situation. If Robertson's made a really speedy recovery, then fair enough, maybe Robertson's back for game week 3. But if you look at the fixtures, game week 3 is going to be against Chelsea anyway. Are we going to be wanting to double up on those Liverpool defenders in the game against Chelsea? Perhaps not. So that's no real worry. Tsimikas was brought in for 2 game weeks only, really, anyway, and that's exactly the purpose that he has fulfilled. So thank you, Tsimikas, for the 6 points in the first game week. Get me another 6 points in this game week. And you know what? Last week, he actually looked really quite attacking as well, taking on a few shots, putting in some crosses. Hey, you never know. You could get some more points. And for a 4 million defender, you cannot ask for any more. He's an absolute dream early season. And we're going to finish off the Liverpool trio with Salah in midfield. He's going to get a price rise soon, we're pretty sure. But for now, he's 12.5 million, guys. So if you don't have him, get him while he's hot, Burnley is the fixture, again, because, it's just a really nice fixture. They conceded a couple of goals to Brighton in the first game. We do expect Liverpool at home at Anfield with the massive crowd behind them for the first time in forever. This is going to be huge for a player like Salah, who has thrived typically, but with a home crowd behind him. So this is a really, really exciting one, and I cannot wait to see how Salah performs in this game. Really, really excited. So yeah, he's the most popular player in the game for a reason. He's the most captain player last game week for a reason, because he's fabulous, guys. He's fabulous. But we'll move on to Bruno Fernandes, the 20-point man himself. 3 goals last week. What an incredible result for him. I mean, he scored 3 goals off an XG of something like 0.8 or something like that. So his finishing was top notch. It really was insane in that game. So Can he continue that? I really hope so. Southampton, we've kind of seen Manchester United go and play Southampton and absolutely batter them in the past. Southampton conceding 3 goals in that first game. It was showed maybe there's some worries here with Southampton. Is they going to be a bit whipping boys kind of team of the season? I don't know, but I do think they are going to concede a few goals against Manchester United, who just looked electric against Leeds. Southampton are a worse defence than Leeds. Are they going to look electric again? Are they going to repeat the sort of 7 goals wonder of past days? Quite possibly. We do want to have those Manchester United players in, and that's why Bruno Fernandes is going absolutely nowhere ever. It's why I've doubled up on the Manchester United attackers with Greenwood, who's going to be playing as a striker once again. Cavani's not going to be ready. Sancho's probably going to be ready, but Greenwood is going to be playing as a striker again this game. I really strongly feel like he will be, and I think, if Greenwood continues to play the way he is playing right now, he is going to be in that Manchester United team for a long time. The way Ollie speaks about him with such high regard, particularly when Rashford's out, and you can say, oh, well, Greenwood's never played as a left winger. Why would he play as a left winger? If assuming Cavani plays as a striker, Greenwood, because Ollie rates him so highly and he's playing so well, you find a place for him, even if that is at left wing. And if it doesn't work out, fair enough. But when you have a player, a young player particularly, in this kind of form, who's doing this kind of magic, you find a place for him in the team. You do. So I don't think he's going to go anywhere. And honestly, I can see by the end of this season, him locking down that striker position for his very own. So an amazingly exciting player to own in FPL, and a player that I absolutely rate incredibly highly, and that's why I started with him. That's why I'm recommending you guys in my other videos to buy him, and he's going to do incredibly once again, I think, against Southampton. I think he could be on for a big haul. And then we're finishing off the midfield with Benrahma, probably the player I'm least confident about in this game week. Obviously, Leicester kept a clean sheet in game week 1 against Wolves, although I do think that clean sheet flattered them because they did concede quite a few chances. So although, Leicester, we see them as a difficult team, West Ham are going to be at home. Well, we kind of know what West Ham are like at home with a crowd behind them at the Olympic Stadium. Maybe not so good in previous seasons, but they did really well last season. We know that they're kind of goal-scoring machines at the moment. Benrahma is playing, well, he's taken on that Lingard role, that attacking midfielder behind the striker, doing really well, taking shooting opportunities, creating. And against Leicester, what's going to happen? It's a bit of a mystery. It's a Monday night football game. Like I said, Leicester did keep a clean sheet, but they did concede chances. So it's a little bit of a mystery. So it's not, this is not cause for concern. At the end of the day, West Ham play Leicester, and then they play Crystal Palace, and then they play Southampton. So there's really nice fixtures, immediately, after the Leicester game. But if Benrahma got 2 points this game week, I would not be totally surprised. But obviously, I'm hoping for a little bit more. But we'll move up front to Ings. Little bit disappointing debut, I guess, for him, really. The only shot he took all game was that penalty shot in the 7th minute of added time at the end of the game. Pretty crazy, right, guys? But he did score. He is still the focal point, and Newcastle are terrible in defence. We've seen that already. West Ham scored 4 goals against them. How many goals can Aston Villa score against them? I don't know. Aston Villa, an ambitious team, still trying to work things out a little bit, kind of mesh their team a little bit in attack. Maybe they don't have full fitness. I've heard so many excuses from various people of why Aston Villa didn't perform in that first game, but it's not over for them at all. There could be a real nice reaction here, particularly at home at Villa Park. Danny Ings leading the line once again. We know he's an insane striker. We know he's an insane finisher. If he can get that service, particularly if some of the other guys are coming in back into fitness a little bit, Buendia, Bailey, getting a little bit of training, a little bit of game time under their belts as they return to the club, or join the club, or whatever you want to call it. I do think that Ings has still got a little bit in him for these next 2 games. And I would probably be hopping off Aston Villa players in general after game week 4, where they play Chelsea. But for the next 2 fixtures, Newcastle, Brentford, I really do still think Danny Ings has a lot in him. So I don't think, you guys who are maybe a little bit worried about Danny Ings, don't panic just yet. Give him another game. We put him in our game week 1 teams for a reason. Let's stick with him and see what he can do in this next game. If it doesn't look good, it doesn't look good after that. There's no harm in just waiting 1 more week. But Against Newcastle, that's not really a fixture you sell a striker ahead of, right? We'll move on to Antonio. Kind of a similar situation with Benrahma, as I don't really know how this West Ham versus Leicester game is going to go. Obviously, I'm hoping for a goal fest. I love goal fests, and West Ham do typically bring you goal fests. That's what they do. That's why I picked 2 West Ham players in my Game Week 1 team, because they're goal machines. They concede loads of goals, but they score loads of goals, which is why I was also like kind of raising my eyebrows when a lot of people were going for the West Ham defenders. Unless, of course, you chose Cresswell, who scored, which is, amazing. But yeah, it's all about attack for West Ham, and I absolutely love it. I love watching them right now, and I'm not a West Ham fan, but they're quickly becoming one of my favourite teams to watch, that's for sure. And yeah, Antonio, obviously, huge score last week. We kind of hope he's still on penalties. You would hope. If he's not on penalties, to be fair, it's going to be Benrahma, likely to be the backup penalty taker. So we've got both West Ham penalty takers in our team at least, so that's pretty good. But again, what's going to happen in this Leicester game? I don't know. Leicester conceded chances. Do they just need a big finisher like Antonio to score a goal or 2 past them? I hope so. We'll see. We'll see. And finally, we've got Callum Wilson, who, when I watched him in the first game, he looked absolutely amazing. He was one of the strikers that stood out to me. I know he didn't get a huge amount of points. I know he only got 6 points. I say only. That's still a really good score. He stood out in all of the games that I watched over the weekend as the player who was constantly in the right positions, constantly a danger, constantly a threat. The final pass was always to him. He looks like he's going to score a decent amount of points over the first sort of 10 game weeks. I can see that already. So I'm really glad I chose him. I mean, these are kind of the reasons I chose him in the first place. And yeah, absolutely a wicked player and a little bit of a differential as well. Aston Villa, if they are as shaky as they were in the first game, Wilson is going to get opportunities to score. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. Another big scoring game. Ings and Wilson just kind of scoring as many goals as possible against each other. That would make my Monday night. It certainly would. But no, it's not on Monday night, sorry. That's the West Ham games on Monday night. It would make my, whenever that game is played, it would make that day great for me. I just want goals. I love goals. So yeah, if Ings and Wilson and their respective teams can just forget how to defend, that would be absolutely amazing. We'll just have loads of goals against each other. Be really nice. On to the bench, guys. We've got Steele, the backup for Sanchez. As you know, just in case Sanchez gets injured, red carded, whatever, Steele is there as a backup to fill in. Ayling, who is against Everton. I did actually think Everton might be, not very high scoring, but they scored 3 goals in the first game, which has kind of put me off putting Ayling on the pitch, to be honest. But he is there. There is an option of having Ayling there. We've got Browning against Liverpool. He's not going anywhere near the first team. And we've got Omar against Man City. That's kind of, a bit of a suicide pick, really, isn't it, to put him on, if he was on the pitch. But he is nursing, I think, tonsillitis. I think Omar Deli's got tonsillitis, so maybe he needs one more game week to recover from his tonsillitis. But don't worry, I was never going to play him, against Man City anyway, away. Yeah, that would be a really odd move, wouldn't it? So he's staying firmly third on the bench, and hopefully within a few game weeks he is starting. He is fit and he's ready to go for some of the easy fixtures that eventually come on Norwich's way. But there you go, guys. That is how I'm lining up. What about transfers, guys? I hear you cry. Well, what transfer should I make? There's literally none. When I look at my team, I built this team for not just one game week, for multiple game weeks. I built it in game week 1 because I love the players. I still love the players. The players have performed amazingly in game week 1. There was not a single concern that I saw when I watched my players play in game week 1. There's no reason for me to make a transfer because, having 2 transfers is far more effective than having 2 individual transfers as well. So it's really nice to be able to roll the transfer, be confident in the team that I already selected for this game week. And a few of you guys would be saying, what about Man City players? You've got to have a Man City player, right? Who would you take out? Because really, when we talk about Man City players, if we're talking about defenders, little bit of rotation there, but maybe you would assume maybe a Diaz was fairly nailed on. Do you think Diaz is likely to score more points than Trent Alexander-Arnold, Shaw, Tsimikas? Probably not, or at least there's not very much in it. Then you look at their midfielders, you think, okay, who are we looking at? Grealish, Mahrez, Kevin De Bruyne, players like that, Bernardo Silva, Ferran Torres, etc., etc., etc. And then look at who you'd be replacing. So we'd be replacing Salah, Fernandes, or Greenwood. think of one Man City midfielder that you would honestly back to 100% score more, or even a 50% chance of scoring more than either Salah, Fernandes or Greenwood. I do genuinely think that if you pick an individual player, because of the rotation risk, because you don't know who's going to haul, it could be, like Ferran Torres' turn to haul. On another day, it's Mahrez' turn to haul. But with a player like Salah, with a player like Fernandes, and with a player like Greenwood, every week is their week because they are the star of the team. Even De Bruyne, don't have confidence in him as a Man City player because he's not fully fit. He's not fully ready to go. I don't even know if he's going to start against Norwich. It seems like there's probably not too much reason to start him against Norwich because of how, I don't want to say it's an easy fixture because there's no such thing as an easy fixture, but it's certainly a fixture in which Man City are favoured. So I don't think there's any need to rush him back, De Bruyne back, in a game like Norwich. Obviously, he came off the bench, in a tricky Spurs game to try and make the difference in the game, but I don't think that there's going to be that same need in that Norwich game, really. So even De Bruyne, not fully confident in. Grealish, I really think, if I really was to tell you, you ought to ask me right now, who's going to score more points, Grealish or Greenwood? I would tell you Greenwood is more likely to score more points. So there's nowhere for me to go. There's nowhere for me to go. I'm so happy with my team. I'm so confident in my players that, particularly long term, over 2-3 game weeks, these players that I have on the pitch, I think will score more points. There is no reason for me to move to Man City players. I don't need to. I don't need to do that. I'm happy. I'm going to bank the transfer. We're going to move on, and we're going to talk about captains very, very quickly now. Guys, I have come to the decision that I am going to be captaining Mo Salah for this game. There's just something about being back at home at Anfield with a crowd behind you. You don't doubt Salah in a game like that, especially against Burnley, who are, they historically a kind of good defence, but recently they've just not been a good defensive team, really. So I do think Salah is going to rip them apart, and he played so well in the first game. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes is going to have the vice-captain as well. A lot of you guys are maybe considering Bruno Fernandes, and I think that's fine. I think if you're not going for Salah, the only other realistic option is kind of, the risk-free option is Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, with his hat-trick last week, a lot of people are going to be wanting to go for Bruno Fernandes, and I completely understand that, but it's not something that's likely to happen every single game. And I know this Southampton game is really nice, but it's away from home. It's Bruno Fernandes, as magnificent as he is, there's going to be other players coming in. It's going to be Sancho coming in. How is that going to affect Bruno Fernandes? Salah is, in my opinion, a safer bet to get a really nice score this game week, and there's not a huge amount in it, to be honest. So if you want to go for Bruno, absolutely, I completely back you for it. But my decision is to go for Salah for this game week, and yeah. So that, guys, what you see in front of you is my game week 2 team. Shoot for the moon, guys. We've done really well in game week 1. Can we break into maybe the top 5,000 in the world, maybe even better in game week 2? I think we can do it, and we're going to rise and rise and rise until we're number 1. It's going to happen, guys. We're going to do it. Come on. Really excited about this season, man, as you can probably tell. But there we have it, guys. So thank you so much for watching this video, guys. If you did enjoy it, please do leave a like. Please do subscribe as well if you want to follow me along with my team every single game week. I'll be posting this game week before the deadline, this kind of video before the deadline every single week, all the way through 38 game weeks of the season. And hopefully you guys are really going to enjoy it. And yeah, hopefully, it's going to help you guys out as well. And sort of you can get inside my brain a little bit of how I'm going to be playing FPL this year, which, yeah, is hopefully going to be really, really good. But guys, again, if you want to check me out on Twitter, it's at FPL Mate. I'm on there all the time. Instagram as well. I'm not on it as much, but you can check me out there as well. Mini League code in the description if you want to join the Mini League to compete with me. You want to have a go? Come join it. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So I'll thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you later, mates. Bye-bye.